Today I'm going to do a little tulip watercolour sketch in my sketchbook. I haven't used watercolours in quite a while, so I've lost my confidence with them totally. So this is sort of a warm-up practice and just getting used to them again. I'm using a little watercolour set that I actually made, so I'll link to that video on YouTube if you want to make your own. It's really fun and you can use all your favourite colours, which is the best bit about it. Today I'll be painting tulips because I'm seeing tulips everywhere with it being spring and they've really inspired me. I love the way that their stems after a few days go all wild, like they've got a life of their own. And I want to paint really loosely with watercolour today. I want the paint to have a life of its own and take on its own form. I've been kind of feeling a bit burnt out recently. I think it's just from becoming a mother as well as trying to carry on with my painting and my work. And I have a tendency to work very fast and quite frantically, and my creative flow can often feel very intense. And watercolours has really given me an opportunity just to breathe and to be slow. Because you have to wait for the layers to dry before you add paint on top so it doesn't blend, so it really forces you just to take a little bit of a step back and just take your time over it a bit more. And I really appreciate that watercolours has made me do that. I don't get a lot of time to paint anymore, so when I do, I really want these painting sessions to feel fulfilling and like they are lifting me up creatively, emotionally, mentally, rather than weighing me down. And so I really feel drawn to watercolours at the moment. I'd like to thank Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Skillshare is an incredible online learning platform with thousands of inspiring classes about so many different subjects. There are videos on painting, photography, graphic design, web design, creative writing, almost anything that you can think of that is creative, there's probably a video on it. The Skillshare video that I'm watching at the moment is called Organic Expressive Florals with Watercolour and Ink by Omar Wynn. She talks about embracing your intuition and letting go of your perfectionism when creating to really create some loose florals, and that is something that I really want to try and work on. What's great about Skillshare is that it's curated specifically for learning, so there are no adverts, so you can really focus on your skill and be completely absorbed in it, and it's less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description box will get a free trial of the premium membership, so you can go and discover your new passions and really enrich your creativity. Let me know in the comment section if you guys have any favourite classes, and again a massive thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. So some of the tips that I've been learning about creating loose florals. For one is to use a fairly medium to large sized brush. That way you don't get too hung up on the details, but instead focus on the larger shapes. Also, to let colour do its thing. You can see here I'm loving the way that these colours like meld in together and creating they're almost like little galaxies of their own. And that really gives a nice abstract, loose feeling to the painting. And lastly, you know, this is a sketchbook painting. This isn't a painting that's going to be hung in a museum. This is just playful experimentation and having fun. Sometimes we can feel pressured to create masterpieces, and all that pressure just absolutely zaps any creative intuition and excitement. That pressure can feel really heavy on your shoulders. When you take that pressure away and just say, I'm just going to play with today's painting, I'm just going to experiment, have fun, it really nourishes the creative soul. And many times it's happened to me where I've just been playing, and that's where I've discovered something new that I really love. You know, so many times we see on social media especially these beautiful sketchbooks, which should be put in museums because they're absolutely stunning, and every page is perfect and detailed and a masterpiece of its own. And whilst they are beautiful to look at, it can almost put us off, using our sketchbooks in the way that they're designed for, and that is to sketch. You know, they're not for final pieces, they're for experimentation and trying out new things and trying out different techniques, colors, exploring different mediums, exploring different subjects. And sometimes it's good to remember that that's what sketchbooks are for. They're for our own personal use. Almost like you wouldn't share a diary. You know, a lot of people don't share their sketchbooks because they're not proud of what's in there. And there's nothing wrong with that. I do try and show all sides of the creative process, the paintings that I'm proud of and equally the paintings that don't work and that I'm not so proud of. I don't think it's always encouraging to only see everybody's best bits. Every painting that you make is a step forward. Even if we hate a painting that we've made and we want to rip it up or burn it and we despise it, we have to look at it in a positive light because that painting has taught us something. It's brought us closer to something that we're going to make that we love. When a painting doesn't work, it actually teaches something. So every single thing we make has beauty in it and has experience. But I'm really liking the playful shapes of the tulips, and it definitely is feeling impressionistic, which is the look I was going for. I'm not a massive one for details anyway. If you've watched many of my videos, you'll know that I love the loose impressionistic feel that is more suggestive and more has a feeling or a vibe to it. And that is the focus, rather than it looking completely lifelike. I feel like this painting is almost getting there. I definitely feel like it needs a little bit more definition, so I'm going to go in with some Payne's Grey to really add some darker shadows in to give that nice contrast between the white paper in the background and then some darker shadows as well. I do have a tendency to add too much. I'm always adding that little bit too much, so I really want to try and be restrained here. So I'm just going to add in some stems because I realized what was looking off about it, and it's that the bottom of the vase was empty. So I'm just going to add in a few stems here and there. I don't want to focus on this too much and add too much detail because I don't necessarily want your eye to be drawn to this part of the painting. So just finally, now that most of it is dried, I'm going to go back in on the final layer with a little bit more definition and just to create those last little areas of contrast. And I think I'm going to stop there because I really like this painting. It was really fun to create and I'm happy with where it's gone, and I don't want to overwork it. I really like that there's some white gaps in between all the flowers, which really just break it up a little bit. So I'm going to leave it there, and I really hope that you guys like it and enjoyed this video. Let me know if it's inspired you to create some watercolors of your own. Head to my Instagram if you're looking for some more inspiration. I try and upload daily with new content, so thank you so much guys for your support and have a beautiful creative week.